Let's talk some sports, baby.
Taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by
And remember, make tomorrow better than today, and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do? We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, guys, let's move over to some boxing news and some big news regarding the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury have agreed to the basics of a two-fight deal in 2021. Details are still set to be ironed out, but it appears the Brits are set to partake in possibly the biggest fight in British boxing history. Both fighters do have pre-scheduled fights beforehand. Fury is set to fight Deontay Wilder a third time, with that fight currently postponed amid the coronavirus and is likely to take place later this year. Joshua, meanwhile, has to defend his titles against Dillian Whyte. Assuming both win, it would set the stage for the winner of Fury Joshua to become the first unified heavyweight champion in 20 years, a title last claimed by Lennox Lewis in 1999. So, Drink, we've talked a lot about Fury before. Would you mind catching us up on Anthony Joshua and then give us your thoughts on this potential matchup?
All right, so Anthony Joshua, the Brit, the model, the chisel guy, the Olympian. Let's not forget Anthony Joshua is a gold medal Olympian. And listen, the reason for my USA fans, I'm gonna assume that the UK know who Anthony Joshua is. Just for my USA fans, the first big global chance that the the U.S. market got to see Joshua, he lost. Then, he ran it back in Saudi Arabia. But Anthony Joshua in the heavyweight division, he's a big deal. First of all, the dude holds 3 of the 4 belts. So they let you know right now, he's a big deal. But what we seen when he fought Ruiz the first time, we seen a very, very strong glare in his skill set. The young chin, it ain't there. He got you know what I'm saying? He got this little weak, frail chin, and Ruiz put it on him, and he didn't know what to do. Now, I would give him this credit. In the second fight, he lost all that muscle, and he actually was moving more than he did in the first fight. The thing is this. When you got a chin like his, I just don't see him beating the likes of Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. Because whatever you can say about Tyson Fury, his chin is there. And Tyson Fury moves like no other heavyweight currently. Like, he's heavier than all these guys, but he moves better than all these guys. So bringing in this current, potential fight for 2021, I like it. Here's what people got to understand. In boxing, this happens all the time. Most promotions, because boxing is such an independent contractor sport, most promotions they'll book fights in the future, even though they have fights right in front of them. That's exactly what happened. Now, I know what you're saying. So what happens if one of them lose? Well, they lose. They figure it out. But I have to agree with what Eddie Hearn did here. Eddie Hearn's a very smart British promoter, Matchroom Boxing. He's smart. He understands what's going on here. In 2020, we should see the next fight of the third fight of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. At the same time, we should also see Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte. Most likely, if those fights happen in 2020, it would not be a crowd at those fights. Now, if you go into 2021, it's very possible by the time we get to that point, you will have a crowd. So why wouldn't I go ahead and schedule a fight down the road and I could still meet my obligations, due to the contract? We can have the fights, it just won't be fans. So now I'm not worried about a gate. But if I get this fight in 2021, it's going to be the biggest fight on earth because, like you said earlier, now we will have an undisputed heavyweight champion for the first time in 20-some-odd years. So that is how Eddie Hearn's looking at this. Now, people saying, well, if Deontay Wilder comes out here and handle Fury. Listen, here's the deal. We've seen 2 fights already. It wasn't like Deontay was out here smoking Fury in the first fight. Then he didn't get it done in the second fight. So you want to tell me the third fight going to be different? I don't know. Possible? Yes. I don't think so. And then as far as Anthony Joshua with Dylan White hasn't fought in like, I think, over 2 years or so, because he, USADA got him. Once again, USADA hit him with the sauce, and he popped. So he wasn't allowed to fight. He had a ban. But this fight is kind of runs along the same line as Ruiz and Joshua. This is just a cherry-pick fight that's in the UK. Because if you notice about these UK fighters, it used to be a time where they used to love to come to America and box. It's not like that as much now. USADA has changed the game for you folks. These dudes out here popping up at your gym session. They popping up at your house. They popping up at your massage session. They don't care what you're doing. When they show up, we're going to need a little blood. We're going to need a little hair. Go ahead, give us some of that urine. And ain't nothing you can do about it. You can't say, no, I'm not doing it. Well, I guess you want this 2-year ban then. Or I guess you want this 4-year ban. So either you're going to give it to me or I'm going to take it. It's up to you. Ever since you started and got in the game, these UK fighters are not trying to come over here to America. I also think that took effect of what happened to Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz in the first fight. He had to come in there a little cleaner than usual. And Ruiz was waiting on him. He said, don't let the look fool you, baby. I'm here. And I want all the smoke. And that's what happened. But you notice where the second fight happened. It happened in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia don't have the same guidelines as the U.S. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying he was on none. I'm just saying I found it kind of funny that the rematch didn't even happen. It didn't happen in, the United States or something like that. It's a reason, say, make your own conclusions. I don't know what to tell you. But with that said, you said it. This fight, Fury versus Joshua, for the undisputed heavyweight titles. And this is a big fight no matter what. And let me tell you something. Fury is calling all the shots. Make no mistake. Joshua might have 3 of the 4 belts, but this is a Fury. He's the shot caller for the heavyweight division. He's now the money maker for the heavyweight division. So when Fury say he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2021, Eddie Hearn's going to make it happen. If Fury say, I want to fight Deontay Wilder whenever he fight, they're going to make it happen. He's calling the shots. I do know someone brought it to my attention that Fury is talking about, retiring soon. Well, what's better than fighting Wilder and then getting 2 fights with Joshua, win or lose? You can walk off in the sunset and call it a day. So both of these guys, well, Joshua was looked at, to backtrack on the characteristics of Joshua. I'm sorry, I got carried away. Joshua was looked at as a knockout artist, a model knockout artist. He got these muscles and he just outstrengthened everybody. But as you've seen, if you can get to his chin, it's a done deal. This is why it was very known in the boxing community that Anthony Joshua was ducking Deontay Wilder. He ain't want that smoke because he knew he would have had to get a chin transplant when it was all said and done. All right? Somebody bring in a new chin for this guy because he didn't want the smoke at all. And I don't blame him. Like, if I got a granite chin, I don't want the smoke. Okay, I ain't mad at you. That's why that fight never happened in the past. That was the fight. Now you got Tyson Fury that can take a punch and move. He might get knocked out by Fury while he run away from Wilder. So we don't know, but listen, this fight is a moneymaker. They're going to find the biggest arena they can find in the UK. They're going to sell it out to the best of their ability. They might not be able to fill it up because COVID, but to the best that they can, and it's a moneymaker. So listen, man, this is the fight to make. I ain't mad at them, and let's get on with it.
The more I hear about USADA, maybe the fighters need to get together and start a defund USADA type of movement. But that's a story for another day. Look, we talked about this. We talked about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. What we want to see in sports is just the best of the best going head to head, and this is potentially another example of that because we talked a lot about Fury and Wilder, but there's definitely a third guy lurking in Anthony Joshua, who is very highly regarded in this division. But there is, and I'm glad you brought it up, there is the idea that he's been kind of, dodging Deontay Wilder, trying to sidestep Tyson Fury to, avoid the guys who, are coming. But this is it's good to see that this is happening, because I'm anxious to find out just how good Anthony Joshua is. And in regards to the old chin comments, you say he lost a lot of muscle. I don't know if he had a thought of putting some of that muscle in his chin, get a little more strength up there. But this is 2021. It's definitely something to look forward to down the line. I'm looking forward to more details coming out about it, so we can, really gear up for it. And again, it is interesting, as you say, Joshua's got 3 of the 4 belts, but Fury seems to have all the juice because he's got the best win. Anthony Joshua, to my knowledge, he doesn't have a win. Any win on his resume as impressive as Tyson Fury undressing Deontay Wilder in the last fight, because that's what happened.
Oh yeah, I would say his best win up to this point is probably Vladimir Klitschko. Not Andy Ruiz. Everybody, Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
Listen, Andy Ruiz won the first fight. Yeah. But that's not his best win. His best win to this point is Klitschko. Just to throw that out there.
Well, so what? And to just to get further in the weeds on these two fighters, break down some of the further on the contrast between Fury and Joshua and what that fight might look like.
Okay, so here's the deal. This is what we know about Fury. Fury is not a knockout artist. Can he knock you out? Yes. Anybody can be knocked out. He's not a knockout artist. Fury would go 12 rounds with no problems. Joshua started out as a knockout artist, but like you alluded, his competition wasn't to the level of, hey, this guy's gonna force me to go 12. This guy's gonna force me to go 10. So he started off a knockout artist. Now, what is very unique and interesting to me about this is now, after Joshua lost to Ruiz, he kind of changed the philosophy of how he boxed. I don't think he maintained the power that he once had earlier in his career. I think now he is more on the lines of like Fury. I think when we watch these guys fight, in my honest opinion, this is a fight that's going to be similar to, if I had to put it in contrast, like I don't know if you know these gentlemen, but Lennox Lewis, Hassan Roxman, like it's going to go 12, give you action. I don't necessarily see either one of these guys getting knocked out, because I'm not a fan of Anthony Joshua's chin, but I don't think Fury is going to knock him out either, because he's going to change his philosophy. The reason Wilder got done the way he did, because Wilder doesn't possess the skill set outside of knocking people out. We've seen that. If he don't knock you out, what else do he have? Whereas I done seen Joshua go 12 rounds without knocking people out. I done seen him knock people out as well. And after he got his lesson learned from Ruiz, we seen him come back looking more toned down, less muscle, and then he went the distance with Ruiz, and he looked good doing it. He dominated that rematch with Ruiz the way he should have in the first fight. And listen, like I said about Tyson Fury, need I say more? That dude is the best movement heavyweight in the division. I mean, he's out here looking like a doggone bantamweight. I mean, light on his toes, can give you that business, can talk that good trash when he need to. I mean, it's so easy to sell Tyson Fury right now. It's unbelievable. So when you look at both of these guys, it's a hell of a matchup for any country. But the fact that they're going to do this in the UK is definitely a bonus. And listen, I think we seen what Fury and Wilder look like. If we ever got to see Wilder and Joshua, I'll just tell you this: it wouldn't look like Fury and Wilder. I think Wilder would get Joshua up out of there and call it a day. Hey, book my flight. You know what I mean? So, to contrast that, these guys, I think it would be a more competitive, keep you more engaged than that second fight of Fury and Wilder.
That's fair. And yeah, this does sound like a ton of fun, because, you read Fury was a lot of the chatter after the second fight was he was looking to maybe hang it up soon. He had talked about maybe doing Wild Fury 3, and then he said, he was thinking about calling it a career after that. But the latest I heard on ESPN is now he wants to fight till he's like 40. So I guess, like most fighters, he's gonna retire when he's forced to retire, I guess.
COVID-19 hurt the pockets a little bit. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. But, not only is this fight set to be the first unification of the titles in a long time, but you also, assuming they both win, but you have two guys with 55 total fights and 53 wins. Joshua has the one loss, which he avenged, and Fury has the one draw against Wilder, which he clearly avenged. So, when you look at that, you're talking about guys, I mean, they're not undefeated, but in the sense of no one's ever, beat them and then never, they've revenged their only loss. So, the storyline coming in, two British boxers in Britain, pretty much undefeated, all the titles, all the marbles on the line. That's going to be, I mean, that only could be one of the biggest British boxing, matches in history. That could be one of the bigger ones we've already seen in a long time. I mean, so, and real quick, Drink, just before we go, when we talk about the unification of the belts, I said the last time that it happened was Lennox Lewis in 1999. What does that mean? You think that's really, does boxing need that, I guess? Is that something that's really going to help the sport? Or do you think having that one unanimous champion is what it needs right now?
Listen, what will help the sport is if they had like a president or a commissioner like the UFC. That's what will help the sport, to be perfectly honest with you. It's too many, independent, this promotion doing this promotion doing that. But to answer your question, having one king of the division, yes. To have one guy, this is why the UFC is as popular as it is. It has a champion in the division, right? One champion, and then everybody behind that guy goes after that one champion. So it keeps everything interesting because you can have number 4 go against him, number 3, number 2, number 1, whatever the case might be. Well, in boxing, you got 4 championships for one division. So it's very hard to get all those titles in one match. Well, we have the rarity in this division to have that. It's very rare, and that not just the heavyweight division, any division is very rare to do that. So to have the baddest man on the planet, as they call, to fight and have one champion when that match is over is a very rare thing, a very unique thing, and it's one of those things that you can market very well for boxing if they was to do that. This is the guy. It's kind of like Floyd, right? This is how Floyd took boxing to the next level without championships. Instead of him chasing championships, he got to the point where he just became the pay-per-view money draw. So it put him at the top, and then it made all these boxers chase him. Manny Pacquiao. All these boxers come right after. We want Floyd. We want Floyd. That made boxing interesting. Why? Because, spectators like us, we're like, who's the next person to fight Floyd? That's what we're waiting on. Who's going to get it? So, yes, to answer your question, that does make it very interesting when you only got one guy instead of 4 guys flopping around, one guy from Ireland, the other guy from over here, Kyrgyzstan and all this other bull crap. You got one guy that go behind. And one more thing I wanted to bring up that I forgot. I brought up Joshua fought Klitschko, and that was his biggest fight. He did get knocked down in that fight a couple of times. That granite chin got tested. He ended up winning the fight in the knockout because Klitschko was old, and he wore him out later in the fight, and he won. But there go another fight where he fought at an elevated level, and he got knocked down. So that's something else I wanted to throw out before we got off this subject.